the conversation on how we can explore the opportunities within tourism, but this specific keynote will be speaking to regional tourism. And time allowing, we'll have a regional conversation with representatives of Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, and Kenya that will be speaking to us on what they're doing to ensure that we collaborate and partner together to drive regional tourism. If I could get my UNDP resident rep to come, we'll use this stage, don't you worry. Or do you want to test the other one? But it would be unfair. Please come here. The light is here, all right? She's one of our biggest development partners on matters tourism. She's a big advocate for our Elgon Marathon, and they continue to partner with us on the Elgon Half Marathon, working with our very own champion, Cheptegei. And she is almost, and I think the PS is about to give her a Ugandan name. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I want to invite Miss Nwane to come. If I interrupt you, it's not because I want to, it's because I must, right? But I see a bit of movement. So I'll allow you give between the 5 and 10, please come. And feel free, you could be mobile, you could stay there, it's up to you. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our UNDP resident representative. Big round of applause.
Thank you, Maurice. I'm going to run through this because I'm cognizant of the fact that we have the big boss coming. So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Honorable Martin Mugabe Dunka, Minister of State for Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities, Honorable Minister himself for Tourism, Honorable Ministers from Kenya, Rwanda and Tanzania, the Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Tourism, officials of the government of Uganda, ambassadors, honorary consuls, and members of the diplomatic corps, colleagues from the United Nations Family Private Sector leaders, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to you all. On behalf of the United Nations Development Program and the wider United Nations family, I'm honored to join you at the 10th Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo. A decade of Poate is a milestone worth celebrating. So congratulations to the Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities, Uganda Tourism Board, Uganda Tourism Association, and all key stakeholders. As I drove here this morning, I reflected on words that is at the heart of this year's Poate, wanderlust. It's quietly powerful and speaks to something deeply human. The desire to discover, to connect, to see the world through eyes other than our own. Uganda, blessed with the warm generosity of its people, extraordinary biodiversity, a vibrant cultural mosaic, and some of the most spectacular landscapes on the continent, is the perfect setting for a conversation about what tourism, if done right, can do for humanity. But today I want to go beyond the wanderer. I want to talk about the people who make the journey possible. And the numbers tell a compelling story. So let's begin with the facts, because they are genuinely encouraging. In 2025, international visitor arrivals surged past 1.5 billion, up from 1.46 billion in 2024, effectively recovering pre-pandemic levels after 4 difficult years. International tourism receipts also grew by approximately 6% USD, 1.844 billion. The industry supported a total of 366 million and accounted for 1 in 3 new jobs created globally. Africa stood out. The continent welcomed over 81 million international visitors, a 16.7% increase above pre-pandemic levels. Tourism receipts reached USD 46.7 billion, accounting for nearly half of the continent's service exports. The industry contributed to USD 228 billion to the continent's gross domestic product and supported 30.2 million jobs. The picture is equally encouraging across the East African community. Tourism contributes an average of 9.5% to regional gross domestic product, 17% to foreign exchange earnings, and 7.1% to employment. The East African tourist visa and the expansion of one-stop border posts are creating seamless travel corridors, and multi-destination itineraries are becoming the norm. Uganda's story is equally compelling. Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities performance data for 2025 reveals strong post-pandemic recovery, with international visitor arrivals surging to over 1.642 million, while domestic tourism participation reached 3.27 million Ugandans. Tourism receipts reached USD 1.62 billion in 2025, making the industry one of Uganda's leading export and forex earners. The sector also supported about 7.5% of national employment and accounted for 5.9% of the country's GDP. It is at this point that you clap for Uganda. But the ground beneath is not that stable. And I will tell you why. Tourism is a fragile industry. Climate change is reshaping the very foundation on which East African tourism is built. East Africa's crown jewels, the glaciers of the Ruwenzori Mountains and Kilimanjaro, are shrinking at an alarming rate. Rising temperatures, altered rainfall patterns, and extreme weather events threaten the viability of our most valuable tourist attractions. The African Union State of Africa's Environment 2025 warns that climate-driven shifts could force mass displacement, fundamentally altering the landscapes on which this industry depends. Health outbreaks remain a persistent parallel threat. COVID-19, which effectively shut down the sector overnight, taught us that with brutal clarity. A single outbreak does not merely deter tourists, it can erase years of marketing investment in weeks. And yet our health system, particularly our border entry points, remain stretched. There is also a deeper structural challenge. Too often, tourism revenues flow to capital cities, to large operators, to foreign-owned lodges, while the communities living alongside the gorilla sanctuaries, the national parks, and the cultural sites see little or minimal benefit. And when local communities are not genuine beneficiaries of tourism, conservation becomes a contest rather than a shared commitment, and the sector's long-term future is quietly undermined. So allow me to speak about border communities, because they sit at the heart of this conversation and yet rarely at its center. Africa's borderlands are home to more than 270 million people. That is nearly 1 in 5 Africans. These regions sit at the crossroads of trade, culture, and movement. They are in many respects the original architects of the cross-border exchange that tourism is trying to replicate. And yet they remain, as UNDP's Africa Borderland Center has documented extensively, among the most underinvested communities on the continent. Poverty rates in African borderlands are typically 20 to 30% higher than national averages. Infrastructure lags significantly behind urban centers. Access to electricity, healthcare, and markets remain limited. At UNDP, we see them differently. We see them as frontiers of opportunity. Take Uganda's Karamoja region, which shares the border with Kenya's West Pokot. Beautiful white plains, spectacular escarpments, ancient rock art, and a living pastoral culture that itself is a tourism asset of considerable value if given the chance. These communities carry deep knowledge, rich cultures, and remarkable resilience. They live beside some of East Africa's most striking landscapes. The question is not whether there is value there. The question is whether we have the imagination and the will to invest in them. So what do we know works? At UNDP, we know that our engagement in tourism is grounded in a simple conviction. Development that does not reach the most vulnerable is not development at all. We work at the intersection of economic growth, climate resilience, and inclusive governance. Tourism sits squarely in that space. We know from UNDP's work across the continent that when communities are genuine stakeholders in tourism, such as lead-guided experiences, suppliers of produce to hotels, they own lodges and sit on park management boards, the conservation outcomes improves. Revenues are retained locally, and tourism becomes genuinely transformative. Uganda's model of community-based conservation is a case in point. A share of park revenues flows directly to surrounding villages, the result of deliberate policy choice. Uganda's mountain gorilla population has grown to over 1,000 individuals. This is not a coincidence. It is the result of deliberate policy choice. Conservation and community benefit from working together. With UNDP's support, the sub-national governments of West Pokot in Kenya and Karamoja in Uganda developed the first ever Borderlands SDG investor map, a practical tool that identifies commercially viable, market-ready investment opportunities in the cross-border region. Sustainable tourism features prominently. Guided cultural experiences, eco-lodges, and multi-day circuits that generate income for communities while protecting the very assets on which that income depends. This is not charity. It is a business case. So we've identified 4 priorities of what we consider will make for a resilient, inclusive tourism industry. So if we're serious about building tourism that survives the shocks ahead and shares its rewards more broadly, these 4 areas I mentioned demand our focused attention. First, invest in nature and culture as economic infrastructure. Our natural and cultural assets are not a backdrop to tourism. They are its foundation. Governments across the EAC must accelerate investment in conservation, protected area management, and cultural heritage preservation. Uganda's gorilla population success did not happen by accident. It must not be taken for granted. Second, diversify and go digital. We must move beyond the traditional safari. East Africa's rich cultural heritage, culinary traditions, adventure offerings, and community-based experiences are waiting to lose their livelihoods when arrivals fall. Fourth, make border communities the business case, not the afterthought. Every border post is not just a checkpoint, it is a marketplace of ideas, culture, and commerce. The Borderlands SDG investor map shows that there is real commercial return in investing in borderland tourism when communities are co-owners and co-beneficiaries. Development finance institutions, private investors, and governments have the tools. What is missing is capital and confidence. Let us provide both. So let me close with a direct call to everyone in this room, to governments. Allocate boldly. Protect your natural and cultural assets as the economic infrastructure they are. Harmonize your visa and border policies with your neighbors, and ensure that tourism revenues reach the communities that make tourism possible. To the private sector, look beyond the lodges in Kampala and the camps in Burundi. The next frontier of African tourism is the borderlands, the cultural heartlands, the communities that have been waiting for investment. The returns are there, and so is the impact. To development partners and financiers, use tools such as the SDG Investor Map to move capital to where it is needed most. Blend your finance, take the risks that unlock markets and measure success not only by bed night field, but by livelihoods improved. And to the communities at the heart of this story, your cultures, your landscapes, your knowledge, and your resilience are the greatest tourism assets in the world. You deserve to be owners of this industry, not just its backdrop. So get involved actively and make tourism work for your communities. The Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo is not just a trade show. It is a statement of intent. Please, let us make it count. Thank you.
Beautiful set. Can we appreciate the UNDP resident representative once more, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you so much for setting the stage for what will be the conversation for the next 3 days. It started this morning and we had several panel sessions, but a very quick note to the team that was handling the film session. You were cut short and we apologize. That session will happen after lunch. Immediately we depart, there's lunch, and then you can continue with that session. So I'm hoping the panel, plus those of you who are attending, the delegates attending that particular session, of course that's the reason Uncle Mo is here, it makes sense. Please go back and complete the conversation. It will be nice to ensure all of you are part of that. We appreciate all the different panelists this morning who are part of the several sessions happening. There was an aviation session, and it was the very first time I was finally seeing our CEO of Uganda Airlines, and I'm waiting for a photo moment with our CEO. So cameraman, when you see me walk there, please. But a very quick note, we may not do certain things while our chief guest is here, and I'm still buying time. Shortly, I may or may not invite our regional representatives to make their statements or presentations on regional tourism. But as we do that, I wanted in a special way to welcome visitors. So if a visitor and you're here, please stand. We want to appreciate you. We will behave like a church, recognizing their visitors. If you're here and you're not from the Ugandan borders, even if you're from, my brother here is from Mombasa, you are clearly a visitor. So please stand. Visitors, we want to appreciate you for joining us. All the visitors coming into Uganda, can we give them a warm hand clap, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Powate, Karibu, Uganda. Thank you so much. Please take your seats. So neighbors, please tell your visitor, the one you've noted is next to you, that there is two things they must experience while they're here in Uganda. One is Uganda Waraji. Oh, sorry, Canon, I apologize. Canon Susan Mwezi, I apologize. Okay, the first thing you must experience, not the Uganda Waraji. Let me talk about... This man was bribed by some people, especially the church. Let me start with the most important one. If you're here and you haven't tested the Ugandan pineapple, I don't know what you've been eating. I don't know what you've been eating. I don't know who you're talking to, who is your friend. If you have a Ugandan friend and they haven't given you a Ugandan pineapple, I don't know what they're telling you. Please change their number in your phone and put somebody else. You can have mine. And the other experience I want you to, at least, because you may not be able to get out of Kampala, is taste the Ugandan coffee. Please, drink Ugandan coffee. And we have experiential coffee. I know Inspire Africa is somewhere at the end of this tent. If you can't, please get a moment to pick a Ugandan coffee. And I'm looking at protocol, and I still think I have a couple of minutes. Okay. And finally, since we are by the lakeside, if you're here and you haven't tested the tilapia, I don't know what you've been eating while you're here in Kampala. It's the best fish you'll ever have in the world from our freshwater lakes. And you can never get this anywhere in the world. And I know my team Kenya is looking at me and saying, in Kisumu we also have the tilapia. I know. But So allow me, ladies and gentlemen, I think it will be unfair if I don't allow, on behalf of Team Kenya, the PS Tourism Kenya is here, and it's only right that we allow him to say something. So, Honorable, we give you a few minutes on the other side. Please, Salamia Watu, speak about partnerships and why regional tourism is critical for all of us. Can we ensure there's a mic up there for the PS Tourism Kenya? Makofi ya PS, ladies and gentlemen, let's appreciate the PS of the Republic of Kenya. Let's ensure there's a mic there. We want to give him. Yes, is there a mic, PS, there? Okay, we are bringing one there. So as the PS is there, can I see Team Kenya? Team Kenya, stand up. So that he knows he has a team that is here with him. Team Kenya, please stand for recognition. Team Kenya, karibu, welcome. Thank you for coming. And okay, the PS has a mic there. Thank you. PS, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Distinguished participants, senior officials from Uganda and from all other countries represented here, all participants to this very important tourism expo, which is the Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo. Good afternoon. How are you? Can you say hi? Hi. First and foremost, as has been said, my name is John Ololtua. I'm the PS, or Principal Secretary, for tourism in the Republic of Kenya. Let me take this opportunity first and foremost to appreciate the people and the government of Uganda for welcoming us to the Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo. Secondly, let me take this opportunity also to commend you for organizing this amazing expo, which is an equivalent of the Magical Kenya Travel Expo in Kenya, and which is bringing together people from the East African region and from other regions in Africa to be able to work together. As you know, tourism is a unifying factor across the world. It brings people together, and it promotes people-to-people diplomacy. It promotes cultural exchange, but it also promotes trade among people. And so our coming here as Kenya, first and foremost, is to be able to express our togetherness with our neighbors, Uganda. In fact, Uganda is our #2 source market for tourism, or for visitors who come particularly for leisure. But in Africa, it's #1. In fact, in 2025, by end of last year, 2025, we had received over 234,000 Ugandan tourists visiting Kenya. We also have worked very closely together, especially along the Kenyan coast, where we have the Uganda-Kenya Tourism Corporation, where we have been having a lot of exchanges together in terms of the conference that have been taking place, and also the farm trips that we have been undertaking together. And so we are very proud to be here and to join you. And as I conclude, we are here because we want to promote one another. We have not come here to compete. We have come here to ensure that across the East African region and across all the other countries who are represented here, we are working together to ensure that tourism flourishes across the region. And so let's be happy, let's enjoy, Personally, I'm already enjoying visiting a nice places here in Uganda, and I'm sure every other country who is represented here is quite happy. You are most welcome to Kenya. For those of you who have not come to Kenya, let me take this opportunity on behalf of the government of Kenya and the Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife, particularly my Minister, Honorable Rebecca Miano, to welcome all of you to Kenya. Kenya, hakuna matata. Hakuna matata? Hakuna matata. So, thank you so much. God
Susan Mwezi from the Hotel Owners Association and all the other delegates who are here representing the various associations, we want to thank you for joining us today. Your Excellency, we have government agencies that are here that support tourism, your very own National Planning Authority, the State House Investor Protection Unit, and the Presidential CEO Forum. If you could stand, heads of agencies who are here, please stand for recognition so the President knows that you're here supporting. And your very own Ambassador, Rosa Malango, Your Excellency, who you made a special advisor on tourism. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to appreciate all the key partners. Your Excellency, amongst us are visiting delegates, but also with us are several heads of delegation. I want in a special way to introduce the Principal Secretary of Tourism from the Republic of Kenya. Please stand so His Excellency can see you. Karibu Uganda. He's heading the Kenyan delegation. We have a team, the Kenyan delegation is here, but also the Rwanda delegation that is led by the Rwanda ambassador to Uganda, the Rwanda High Commissioner. Please stand. We want to appreciate you. We also have the Tanzanian delegation, and I think Mr. Moiga, who is one of the delegates, please stand for recognition that is leading our Tanzania delegation. He should be here, but he's here, and the delegation is represented. And we also have of course, the Ugandan delegation, Your Excellency, that is led by our permanent secretary, who should also stand so that we recognize that she's the one leading the Ugandan delegation and hosting us with the Uganda Tourism Board. Your Excellency, just very quickly, because we don't have too much time, a bit of information. This particular expo, Your Excellency, was oversubscribed with over 1,500 delegates registering to attend. Can we appreciate the Uganda Tourism Board for ensuring this edition was oversubscribed? Your Excellency, we have over 250 trade visitors. These are potential investors in tourism, and we want to appreciate them for joining us. We have over 120 hosted buyers, Your Excellency. They've been here for the last few days touring Uganda, and you can see them. They clearly don't look like us, Your Excellency, and you will know that they are our hosted buyers. Can the hosted buyers who are here please stand for recognition? All the hosted buyers, please stand. Can we appreciate the hosted buyers, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you so much, Your Excellency. We have over 350 exhibitors, and I know due to other protocols, you didn't visit the exhibition. We have over 40 countries represented this year at the 2026 Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo. We have several tourism influencers, and we have partners from across the world. But allow me in a special way, Your Excellency, because you delegated this team to do a fantastic job in promoting Destination Uganda. So I want to request the representatives who are here, but also the heads of mission of the Ugandan missions abroad to stand. The Uganda mission in Nairobi, the Uganda High Commission in Kigali, the Uganda Embassy in Denmark, the Uganda High Commission in London, the Uganda Embassy in Paris, the Uganda Embassy in Brussels, the Uganda Embassy in Tokyo, the Uganda Embassy in Canberra, the Uganda Embassy in Cairo, the Uganda Embassy in Cuba, Havana, Cuba. Please stand as I mention your countries. The High Commissioner of New Delhi, Uganda's High Commissioner of New Delhi, the Uganda Embassy in Addis Ababa, the Uganda High Commissioner to Pretoria, the Uganda Consulate in Guangzhou. Your Excellency has done a fantastic job promoting tourism. Uganda's High Commission to Dar es Salaam and the Uganda Consulate in Arusha. All of you, please stand. It will be nice for His Excellency to know you're all here. The Uganda Mission in Geneva, the Embassy in Ankara, Uganda's Embassy in Rome, the Uganda Embassy in Bujumbura, and the Uganda Consulate in Mombasa. Your Excellency, this is just a small but fantastic group of your ambassadors who've done a great job in promoting Destination Uganda. And very quickly, Your Excellency, allow me to recognize these members of the diplomatic corps who are here with us today. The British High Commissioner, please stand for recognition. Of course, the Rwanda High Commissioner, the Venezuelan Embassy Representative, the Kenya High Commission, the UNDP, and of course, CBI, which is the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Netherlands. Please stand for recognition so His Excellency knows you're here. Thank you so much. With that said, Your Excellency, allow me to invite our host, the CEO of Uganda Tourism Board, Ms. Juliana Kagwa, to come and make opening remarks. Can we warmly receive Ms. Juliana Kagwa, ladies and gentlemen?
Your Excellency, invited guests, all protocol observed, kindly allow me to stand on the protocol that was observed by our Master of Ceremonies in the interest of time. Please allow me to start by saying, oh, what a day. Your Excellency, the day you agreed to grace us with your presence as a tourism sector is the day that I believe we achieved critical mass in tourism. Through our Honorable Minister, Colonel Butime, we have been pursuing you for a while, Your Excellency, to the point of stalking. But today, you have given us the distinct honor of recognizing that tourism, amongst all the other ATMs, and we are conscious and wary that all of them have a role to play, Your Excellency, in delivering this country to middle income status. Your presence here is a stamp of approval, is a stamp of belief, and is a demonstration not just to Ugandans, but to the international community of your conviction in this tourism agenda we have started. Your Excellency, when the day you accepted, when we came to Cabinet with the honorable ministers and representation from the Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities, you gave us a challenge. And it is that challenge that is going to carry us through the next 10 years of executing the tourism strategy. Ladies and gentlemen, the challenge was, what is different from Uganda and other destinations in the world? You mentioned a few in Europe, smaller destinations in Uganda, less endowed destinations than Uganda. Biodiversity, you can't compare to Uganda's. But what makes them different that they can attract hundreds of millions of tourists a year? I believe France achieved 100 million this year. Spain not far behind with about 90 million plus. And yet the whole of Africa, Your Excellency, continues to bring 80 million thereabouts annually. An entire continent versus one destination in Europe. That is the challenge, Your Excellency, we heard, and that is the challenge we are going to address, starting with the Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo, Your Excellency, where we have a host of international countries represented by hosted buyers coming to interrogate, to immerse, to learn what Uganda has to offer. Your Excellency, we have here today representatives from the furthest locations on the globe. Australia is here. Portugal is here. Brazil is here. Your Excellency, Argentina is here. What about Japan is here? All these countries interested to know what makes Uganda different, and why should travelers choose Uganda as their next destination. So, Your Excellency, our strategy is well in swing. Our commitment to you and to the government is that we have heard you. Together with the private sector, we are going to collaborate. We are going to innovate. And if nothing else, through sheer passion, we are going to deliver this country to middle income status through tourism. Your Excellency, please, you will allow me to invite my chair, who will introduce her board members. Since COVID, we have fully recovered our numbers and are now surpassing you, Your Excellency. But I would like to invite Madam Chair, Pearl Kakoza, to join me up here and reassure the ladies and gentlemen.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, Honorable Minister of State, ministers present, members of the diplomatic corps, the CEOs and representatives of MDAs, the public sector, and captains of the tourism industry, distinguished guests, members, exhibitors, and buyers from across the globe. Honor the Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo. We are exceedingly honored by your presence, Your Excellency. On behalf, and also the new Kisanja of no sleeping. In this, you have our support. Can you kindly allow me, Your Excellency, to introduce the members of my board who have helped deliver this Lumonya, who's our representative from the Uganda Civil Aviation Authority. There's Madame Margaret Ojara, who is representative from Nakao, who represents the Uganda Hotel Owners Association. Mrs. Sandra Kibirunji, who is the representative from the Ministry of Finance. Mr. Tony Mulinde is a representative from the Association of Uganda Tour Operators. I have my Vice Chair, Mr. Ron Karamara, who represents Trade and Commerce. We also have Mr. Vivian Liazi, who represents the Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Activities. Your Excellency, tourism, as you well know, is a driver of economic force. Through the ATMs under NDP 4, we're very, very happy that tourism has finally been put among the 4 pillars of development of this country. To create, as you said in your inaugural speech 2 weeks ago, Your Excellency, to create wealth. Wealth for the citizens of Uganda so that it is a huge economic driver. More than a century ago, Sir Winston Churchill journeyed through this remarkable country of ours and called Uganda the Pearl of Africa. Many of our hosted buyers have never been to our country before, and they have experienced and understood what Sir Winston Churchill saw over a century ago. From 2024 to 2025. And we like to say that Uganda is ready. We are ready, Your Excellency, to deliver on the strategy of growth. Under the ATMs, all the other sectors were given a 10-fold growth. Tourism has been given a 25-fold growth, which, with the promise of the Tourism and Trends and Statistics, the report that was published by the Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities, that was launched on the 30th of April this year. Uganda has enjoyed a 19.7% increase of tourism arrivals in 2025. The expenditure in 2024 was 4.850 billion Uganda shillings. And in 2025, this grew to 5.829 billion shillings. Our 8% increase, that is 116,000 visitors, increased by 6%, but constitute 1.3 million visitors. We'd like to thank the Ministry of Finance for the increase of the 2025 under our strategy. We have also received the branding rights under AFCON for Uganda for the year 2026-2027. Through sports tourism, we expect to not even double but triple the number of our visitors next year because of AFCON 2027. Your Excellency, allow me to thank you once again, to express our deepest appreciation for your support in tourism, and we also look forward to an increase from the Ministry of Finance for our budget to ensure that we can deliver on our strategy. I say this for God and my country.
The President of the Republic of Uganda, please allow me to follow the protocol at this very important occasion. The umbrella body that brings together all private sector tourism trade associations across Uganda. Your Excellency, allow me, on behalf of the entire tourism private sector, to extend our warmest We wish to respectfully remind government of its pledge to support the private sector more directly. Such a fund would enable us standards and quality assurance and ultimately position Uganda as a more competitive destination within the region and globally. This is not just support, it's an investment in a sector that delivers jobs in delivering Uganda's tourism ambitions. With the right support mechanism in place, we are confident that tourism can become one of the leading contributors to Uganda's economic transformation agenda. To our international buyers and partners, we welcome you and invite you to explore Uganda beyond this expo and build partnerships, experience our diversity, culture, heritage, cuisine, and BICS. Together, government and private sector, we can unlock its full potential and secure Uganda's place as Poyate 2026 for God and my country.
Our hosted buyers always hosts them at her lodge just close by. And one of the key highlights, Your Excellency, now call her Mama Tilapia. So, Your Excellency, that is Ms. Yogi Birgwa. Your Excellency, with us are other key stakeholders in the tourism. Mr. Gilma Wake. Can we appreciate him, ladies and gentlemen? The Uganda Wildlife Authority Executive Director, Dr. James Musinguzi, and I've seen his chair here also. Thank you so much. The chimpanzee trust, you know.
Protect its cultural heritage. Tourism is about language. Parents and communities must teach children to value traditions because culture is also a treasure tourism when explore our whole region. Uganda is very special. Elsewhere, they taste like mululu.